welcome to Coffee with Cassie. Today we have with us Professor Lisa Cole, and she is an accounting professor here at JCC and also the accounting chair. Today we really want to talk about online courses along with time management. So I know that can be a struggle, especially with students taking in-class, online. From a faculty perspective, what would be the best recommendations for students taking online to keep on track to becoming a successful student?
Okay. I would say the first thing, once again, is to realize online classes are totally different than face-to-face classes.
Yeah.
I think the perception is a lot of times this will be easy.
Yeah.
I'll get to do, I can work on it whenever I want to work on it, and there's no set deadlines. And so I think students have to realize that's not the case with online classes.
Yeah.
That a lot of online classes are not just self-paced. They do have deadlines. They have deadlines throughout the semester in order to keep students on track.
Right.
And so that's the important thing. And to realize that you have to put in just as much time, as not more time, because you have to think, I'm not going to class, and so you have to put in time for study as if you were in class. So reading the chapters, going through the PowerPoints and all that content that your instructor provides online. And then on top of that, then you need to study what you just, quote, taught yourself or watch videos on. Because I think the difficult part is you're used to going to class and you are taking in information. And so now you're not going to class, so you have to take in the information on your own. And so I think that's what makes it more difficult, but students don't realize it until they get into it. That, oh, wow, I have to teach myself this concept. Or when you have a question, sometimes there's a delay in getting a response. So if I'm in class and I'm reading something and I don't understand it, I raise my hand, I get an answer to the question. If I'm online, I need to email the instructor and wait for a response. So you could be in your moment. This is my hour to study, and now I'm stuck on this term, and now I got to wait for a reply or try to figure it out or do some research on my own.
Right.
I think the time management with online classes is the most important thing. Is at the beginning of that class, I would map out the next 16 weeks of what's due. Because I think you forget about that course because you don't have your faculty member or you don't see your instructor every other day. And so I think right off the bat from the beginning, print you out a calendar or use your phone and put in all those due dates. And then you need to put in reminders of the due dates, because if your alarm goes off on the due date and it was something that's going to take you a while to do it, you kind of already a little behind. So then you have to kind of press to get things done. So I think scheduling out that whole semester for an online class and making sure you set a set time to work on that particular online class, I think is important. So you're used to going to class maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe set aside a 50-minute time block for Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you to take some time to focus on that one particular class. Because I think what happens is students don't set time for that class and they strictly work on due dates. I'm going to do it as it's due. And that tends to not leave them enough time to learn the material, grasp the material, and then to be able to apply the material.
Right. So with online classes, a lot of times there will be group assignments with communicating with people in the class, but online. Do you have any recommendations for how that communication can go, more effectively?
Okay. With online classes, in an effort to not feel like you're taking a class by yourself, often instructors will have group projects. They'll have you do discussions where you communicate with other students. And what this does is it helps you to be able to, from an accounting standpoint, I say, be able to explain and talk accounting. So you do that through discussions and you do that through groups. I set my students up in groups. And my point is if they don't get to know, they won't get to know the whole class, but they'll get to know 4 or 5 people. And so you tend to then communicate with at least a group of people, and you have to work together, just like if you were in a class. If you were in a class, most of the times you will at least get to know the person to the right and to the left of you. Every day you come in, did you do your homework? Did you do this? What did you think about this? And you will lose that in an online environment if you're not doing group work, if you're not doing discussion. And so that way you don't feel like you're taking the class by yourself. And then perhaps that's who you may ask a question to. Maybe you don't want to ask the instructor this question, how do you submit the online homework, or something like that. And you feel comfortable perhaps asking someone within your group or someone within your discussion group or whatever the case may be. So it's trying to create that same environment to where you can at least feel like you're not taking a class by yourself alone.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Professor Cole. That's all for today, but you can go to the Coffee with Cassie menu and for more interviews with faculty and staff. Have a good day.